Hello students, welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack management exams English. This is your one-stop shop for getting acquainted and being able to get everything that it takes to crack CAT. Today's topic is ratio proportion exercise. Before I go on to that particular topic, let me very quickly introduce myself. I am Arjun Prasad, an engineer with 12 plus years of teaching experience, having trained more than 6,000 CAT aspirants in the fields of quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, data sufficiency, and logical reasoning, as well as have trained them to crack the personal interviews. I have trained more than 4,000 students to crack the campus recruitment exam. That said, let us get started with today's topic, which is ratio and proportion practice exercise. Before moving on to the questions, let us do a very quick recap of the concepts. What is a ratio? Common answer we get is its comparison of entities. Then we need to think, is that really what ratio means? If I say 10 monkeys are same as 2 donkeys, does it make any sense? No, it does not. Therefore, ratio is not comparison of entities. Instead, if I make the statement weight of 10 monkeys is equal to the weight of 2 donkeys, does it make sense? Yes. Therefore, ratio is comparison of similar entities. This is very, very important for us to understand. Ratio is comparison of similar entities. It is represented as A is to B, spelled out as A is to B. It is represented in this fashion. A is called the antecedent and B is called the consequent. Please understand that ratio is not division. A is to B is not the same as A by B. It is actually AX by BX. Is that clear? Now let us understand few more terminologies with respect to ratios. What is meant by duplicate, triplicate, subduplicate and subtriplicate ratios? If I have a ratio A is to B, then the duplicate ratio of A is to B is A squared is to B squared. Triplicate ratio of A is to B is A cube is to B cube. Subduplicate ratio of A is to B is root A is to root B. And subtriplicate ratio of A is to B is cube root of A is to cube root of B. Is that clear? Next, let us look at ratio inequalities. See, whenever we have a proper fraction, when A is less than B, that is numerator is less than denominator, if you add a positive quantity to both numerator and denominator, the newer value or the newer fraction will be greater than the original fraction. For example, if you take 2 by 3, 2 by 3 is what? 0.66, right? Now you add 1 to both numerator and denominator, you will get 3 by 4. What is 3 by 4? 0.75. 0.75 is greater than 0.66. Therefore, 3 by 4 is greater than 2 by 3, which means for every value of x which is a positive number, a plus x by b plus x will always be greater than a by b whenever a is less than b. If a is greater than b, then the opposite is true. If a is greater than b, that is if we are dealing with an improper fraction, if you add a positive quantity to both the numerator and denominator, the fraction that we would have obtained will be less than the initial fraction. For example, take 3 by 2. What is 3 by 2? 3 by 2 is 1.5. What is 4 by 3? 1.33. So 1.33 is less than 1.5. 4 by 3 is less than 3 by 2. So we got 4 by 3 by adding 1 to both numerator and denominator, just as an example. If A is equal to B, then add any quantity to A and the same quantity to B, we'll end up with the same fraction, which is A by B only. Is that clear? Now that said, let us look at what is a proportion. See, ratio is comparison of similar entities. Now let us look at what is a proportion. If you have two ratios which are equal, then equality of two ratios is also called as a proportion. Equality of two ratios is also called as a proportion. If the two ratios are A is to B and C is to D, then we call the proportion as A is to B as to C is to D, which is represented in this particular fashion. This is same as AX by BX is equal to CY by DY. If we cross multiply, we get A into D is equal to B into C. That is the same as product of extremes is equal to the product of means. Here A, B, C and D are called first, second, third and fourth proportional respectively. Is that clear? Next, what do we mean by continuous proportion? If I say A, B and C are in continuous proportion, it means A is to B as to B is to C. That is, in other words, B squared is equal to AC, or B is equal to square root of AC, or B is also called the geometric mean of A and C. B is also called the mean proportional of A and C. B is also called the mean proportional of A and C. And at the same time, in this type of a situation, A is called the first proportional, B is called the mean proportional, and C is called the third proportional. Is that clear? C is the third proportional, B is the mean proportional. C is the third proportional of A and B. B is the mean proportional of A and C. A is the first proportional of B and C. Is that clear? Next, let us understand the meanings of invertendo and alternando. See, if I have a proportion A is to B as to C is to D, if I take the reciprocal on both the sides, I will get it as B is to A as to D is to C. This is called as invertendo. If we interchange B and C, we get A is to C as to B is to D. Just by cross multiplying and replacing B by C and C by B, we get A is to C as to B is to D. This is called as alternando. So I have just explained it over here. If A by B is equal to C by D, take the reciprocal, B by A will be equal to D by C. This is called invertendo. Cross multiply, replace B by C and C by B, you will get A by C is equal to B by D. This is also called alternando. Yeah. Next is nothing but the componendo and dividendo. Simple. Whenever we have A is to B as to C is to D, that is A by B is equal to C by D. If you add 1 on both the sides, we'll end up with A plus B by B is equal to C plus D by D. This is called as componendo. Instead of adding 1, if you subtract 1 from both the sides, we'll end up with A minus B by B is equal to C minus D by D. This is also called as dividendo. If you take this equation and if you take this equation, if you divide one by the other, we get A plus B by A minus B is equal to C plus D by C minus D. This is also called as componendo dividendo. Is that clear? Next is the property of proportions. Whenever we have A by B is equal to C by D is equal to E by F is equal to so on and so forth, the same ratio will be the ratio of sum of all the numerators to the sum of all the denominators. The proof, let us say A by B is equal to K, C by D is equal to K, E by F is equal to K. That means A is equal to B times K, C is equal to D times K, and E is equal to F times K. What is A plus C plus E? Bk plus dk plus fk. You take k common outside, k into b plus d plus f. Bring that to the denominator on the left hand side, we'll get A plus C plus E by B plus D plus F is equal to K. That is nothing but adding the sum, getting the sum of all the numerators to the sum of all the denominators will also be equal to the same ratio as each of these individual parts, which is A by B or C by D or E by F. Is that clear? Next, let us move on with questions. The first question comes here. If A is to B is 4 is to 3, then find 3A plus 4B is to 2A plus 3B. Just because we know how to write does not mean we need to start writing. We can just think and also get the answer. If I consider, let A be what, 4x, then B will be 3x, then 3 times 4, which is 12, 4 times 3, which is 12. So 12 plus 12, which is 24x is 2. 2A is 8x, 3B is 9x. 8x plus 9x is nothing but 17x. So x and x gets cancelled out. So therefore, the required ratio of 3A plus 4B is to 2A plus 3B will be 24 is to 17. The same thing I have just explained it by writing it over here. Let A be equal to 4x, then B will be equal to 3x. 3a plus 4b by 2a plus 3b will be 24x by 17x. X and x gets cancelled out. We are left with the ratio 24 is to 17. Is that clear? Okay. Now, let us move on to the next question. From now on, for every question, after reading out every question, before giving out the solution, I will pause for about 40 to 45 seconds, maybe. Give you time to think, digest the question, and also answer. After that, I shall explain how to solve it. Is that clear? Now comes the next question. Amar and Bhuvan have their incomes in the ratio 5 is to 3 and expenses in the ratio 7 is to 6. If Amar saves twice of what Bhuvan saves, then find the ratio of total income of Amar and Bhuvan to their combined total expenditure. Amar and Bhuvan have their incomes in ratio 5 is to 3, expenses in the ratio 7 is to 6. Amar saves twice of what Bhuvan saves. Find the ratio of total income of Amar and Bhuvan to the total expense of Amar and Bhuvan. Okay, let us look at the solution. Let us say Amar, Bhuvan. Their incomes are in the ratio 5 is to 3. So if the income of Amar is 5x, then the income of Bhuvan will be 3x. Expenses are in the ratio 7 is to 6. If Amar's spending is 7y, then Bhuvan's spending will be 6y. What about the savings? 5x minus 7y is the saving of Amar. What about Bhuvan's saving? 3x minus 6y is the saving of Bhuvan. He says Amar saves twice of what Bhuvan saves. That is 5x minus 7y is 2 times of 3x minus 6y. If I simplify, I get 5x minus 7y is 2 times 3, 6x minus 2 times 6, 12y. 6x minus 5x will be x will be equal to 12y minus 7y, which is 5y. X is equal to 5y. Now he has asked the ratio of total income to their total expense. Total income is 8x and the total expense is nothing but 13y. Now 8x is same as 40y. 8x is same as 40y. So we get it as 40y by 13y. 40y by 13y. Y and y gets cancelled out. 40 by 13, which is 40 is to 13, is nothing but the ratio of the total income of Amar and Bhuvan to their total expense. So the ratio is 40 is to 13. Is that clear? So the ratio is 40 is to 13. Okay. Next, let us look at the next question. 5 identical jugs are filled with orange juice in the ratio 4 is to 5 is to 6 is to 7 is to 8, such that the total of orange juice in 5 jugs is equal to 75% of the total capacity of the 5 jugs. How many of these jugs are at least 64% full of orange juice? How many of these jugs are at least 64% full of orange juice? You have 40 seconds time. Let us see, can we solve this without using paper and pen? For example, let us say the capacity of the of each jug is 100 units. Let us say the capacity of each jug is 100 units. Okay. Now, the total of orange juice in all the 5 jugs is equal to 75% of the total capacity of the 5 jugs. That is nothing but if the 5 jugs, each jug capacity I am assuming is 100 units, then the total will be 500 units. 75% of 500, 75% of 500, which is nothing but 3/4 of 500. 3/4 of 500 will be 375, right? So therefore, the total amount of orange juice in all these 5 jugs together is 375 units, right? Now take it, these are in the ratio 4 is to 5 is to 6 is to 7 is to 8. That means if the total was 4 plus 5, 9, 9 plus 6, 15, 15 plus 7 is 22, 22 plus 8 is 30. If the total was 30, then 30 corresponds to 375. 30 corresponds to 375. That means 1 corresponds to how much? 1 corresponds to 375 by 30, which is nothing but 12.5. So 1 corresponds to 12.5. If 1 corresponds to 12.5, then 4 corresponds to 50. That is 50% of this judge, because 50 units. So not, I should not consider that. How about 5? If 4 is 50, then 5 will be 62.5, but he says 64%. So I cannot consider. How about 6? 6 would be like 75. So if 6 unit itself is 75%, then 7 will definitely be more than 64%. 8 will also be more than 64%. So how many jugs? The jugs which are the third, fourth, and the fifth jug over here, these 3 jugs will have more than 64% filled by orange juice. Is that clear? For those of you who are unable to get that, let me give you the solution in writing. 4 is to 5 is to 6 is to 7 is to 8, that is total is 30 units. If I consider that the total is 75% of the total capacity, that means 75 5 times, which is 375. If 30 corresponds to 375, then 1 corresponds to 12.5. If 1 is 12.5, then 4 would be 50, 5 would be 62.5, 6 would be 75, 7 would be more than 75, and 8 would be much more than 75. So therefore, leaving out these 2 jugs, which are in the ratio 4 is to 5, the remaining 3 jugs definitely have more than 64% of their capacity filled with orange juice. Therefore, my answer is 3. Is that clear? Able to understand that? Let us move on with the next question. At a school, ratio of boys to girls in 9th grade is 3 is to 4. The ratio of boys to girls in the 3rd grade at the same school is the triplicate ratio of boys to girls in the 9th grade of the school. If the number of boys in 3rd grade is 16 more than the number of students in 10th grade, and number of girls in 3rd grade is 20 more than 4 times the number of students in 10th grade, then find the number of students in 10th grade of the school. Take your time, digest it. I'll give you about a minute time. A minute or maybe a little bit more than Let us look at the solution. Let us say the number of students in 10th grade of the school is X. Again, reasoning is a very important trait, students. It is the most important trait not only to crack the exam but in order to excel in life. We need to reason out everything that we see, we hear, right? So, fine. Let us say, let the number of students in 10th grade be X. Then, he says over here, number of students in number of boys in third grade is 16 more than the number of students in 10th grade. Number of boys is 16 more than the number of students. That is, number of boys in third grade is X plus 16. And number of girls in third grade is 20 more than 4 times the number of students. 20 more than, that is plus 20. 20 more than 4 times the number of students. 4x plus 16 number of boys, 4x plus 20 number of girls in third grade, right? Next, come over here. He says the ratio of boys to girls in third grade, that is x plus 16 is to 4x plus 20, is the triplicate ratio of boys to girls in the ninth grade. What is the number of boys to girls in the ninth grade? 3 is to 4. Triplicate ratio of that would be 3 cube is to 4 cube, which is 27 is to 64. X plus 16 is to 4x plus 20 is 27 is to 64. We just have to find the value of x. How do we go about solving it? X plus 16 divided by 4x plus 20 can be written as 4 times of x plus 5 is equal to 27 by 64. That is, if I cross multiply, I will get it as, see, you might think 64 times of x plus 16. I have not written 64 times, I have written 16. Why? Because I considered 4, 16 times is 64. 4, 16 times is 64. Therefore, after solving that, 16 times of x plus 16 will be equal to 27 times of x plus 5. And then simplify it further, 16x plus 16 times 16, 256 is equal to 27x plus 27 times 5, 135. 27x minus 16x, which is 11x, is equal to 256 minus 135. 256 minus 135, which is 121. 11x is 121, means x is equal to 121 by 11, which is nothing but 11. Therefore, how many students are there in the 10th grade at that school? There are 11 students in the 10th grade at that school. Is that clear? Let us proceed with another question. Again, you will have, I'll give you about a minute or minute and a half, and then I shall explain. Andhadhun, Bahubali, Cabaret, Dumbo, and Electra were the top 5 movies based on number of votes in favor of movie from a sample set of people. Andhadhun got 4 times the votes garnered by Bahubali. Cabaret got twice the votes Bahubali got. Dumbo got 9 times the votes that Cabaret got. Dumbo got 3 times the votes that Electra received. Find the ratio of votes received by Andhadhun to that received by Electra. You have 1 minute. Can we solve it without using paper and pen? Let us see if it's possible. A got 4 times that of B. So if A is 4, then B is 1. If A is 4, then B is 1. C got twice that of B. Given that B is 1, C got 2. So A is 4, B is 1, C is 2. 4, 1 and 2. Okay, so C is 2. D got 9 times of C. That is D got 18. 4, 1, 2 and 18. 4, 1, 2 and 18. D got 3 times the vote that E got. That is 18 is 3 times of something. That means 18 is 3 times of what? 6. Therefore E got 6. So the ratio of A to B to C to D to E in this case will be 4 is to 1 is to 2 is to 18 is to 6. But he has asked A to E. A to E will be 4 is to 6. 4 is to 6 means 2 is to 3. Therefore, my answer is 2 is to 3. So, consider that A got 4 units, then B got 1 unit. Then if B got 1 unit, then C got 2 units. If C got 2 units, then D got 18. If D got 18, then E got 6. So A to E, the ratio is 4 is to 6, which is same as 2 is to 3. Is that clear? Let us proceed with another question. Again, you have about a minute time. Krishna made a will to divide his wealth among Radha, Parikshit and Babruvahan. Radha got half of what Parikshit and Babruvahan together got. Parikshit got a third of what Radha and Babruvahan got. If Radha got 60,000 rupees more than Parikshit, then what is the total wealth of Krishna? See, one way to solve it, is this is Radha, this is Parikshit, and this is Babruvahan. Radha got half of what Parikshit and Babruvahan together got. So let us say Parikshit and Babruvahan together got 2x rupees. So Radha would have got half of that, which is x. Then he says, Parikshit got a third of what Radha and Babruvahan got. Parikshit got a third of what Radha and Babruvahan got. Let us say Parikshit got y, then Babruvahan got 2x minus y. So Parikshit, who got y, so this y is one third of x plus 2x minus y. Y is one third of x plus 2x minus y. That is one third of 3x minus y. So 3y will be 3x minus y, or 4y will be 3x. 4y is equal to 3x. Then he says Radha got 60,000 rupees more than Parikshit. That is x is 60,000 plus y. So in other words, if x is equal to 60,000 plus y, then we can directly say that 4y is equal to 3x, isn't it? 4y is equal to 3x. What is 4y equal to? 4y will be equal to 1,80,000 plus 3y. So what is y equal to? 1,80,000. So what my answer is going to be? 7,20,000 rupees. Is that clear? Because this 4y is equal to 3x, 3 times of x, 3 times of 60,000 plus y, 1,80,000 plus 3y. So 4y is 1,80,000 plus 3y means y is equal to 1,80,000. If y is equal to 1,80,000, then the total wealth of Krishna is nothing but 3x rupees, or in other words 4y rupees. If y is 1,80,000, then 4y is 7,20,000. Therefore, the wealth of Krishna is 7,20,000. See, this is one way of solving. You reduce the number of variables and reduce the amount of usage of fractions, life will be easy. There are only two parts that create a pain in entire quantitative part, or for that matter in entire part of mathematics. In mathematics in general, there are only two parts that create a pain. First is the use of variables, second is the use of fractions. You avoid both of them, heaven. You use one of them, between heaven and hell. Use both of them, hell. That is the difference between hell and heaven as far as mathematics is concerned. Can we solve it by using lesser number of variables and also avoiding fractions? Yes, it is possible. How? Let us say that Parikshit had, I'm taking the last statement. If Radha got 60,000 rupees more than Parikshit, if Parikshit has x rupees, then Radha would get x plus 60,000. If Parikshit got x rupees, then Radha gets x plus 60,000, right? Come to the previous statement. It says Parikshit got 1/3 of what Radha and Babruvahan got. Parikshit got 1/3 of what Radha and Babruvahan got. That is, x is equal to 1/3 of Radha plus Babruvahan. 1/3 of Radha plus Babruvahan is x. That is nothing but Radha plus Babruvahan together got 3x rupees. Out of the 3x rupees, Radha has already got x plus 60,000. So 3x minus x minus 60,000, that is 2x minus 60,000 is what Babruvahan gets. Now come to the previous statement to that, which says Radha got half of what Parikshit and Babruvahan together got. That is, what is Parikshit plus Babruvahan? This is nothing but 3x minus 60,000. Half of this is what Radha got. Or in other words, Parikshit plus Babruvahan is twice that of Radha. So 2 times of x plus 60,000 is 3x minus 60,000. Simplify, you will get the value of x as 1,80,000. If x is 1,80,000, then x plus 60,000 plus x plus 2x minus 60,000. Look at it. 60 plus 60,000 minus 60,000 goes away. X plus 2x is 4x. 4x is 7,20,000 and the answer is 7,20,000. Here it is logically thinking, but we are reducing the number of variables. We are using only one variable, and we have also reduced the usage of fraction, almost close to nil. Right? Is that clear? Understood? Let us proceed further. The mean proportional of two numbers is 12. The third proportional of the same numbers is 96. Find the greater of the two numbers. The mean proportional of two numbers is 12. The third proportional of the same numbers is 96. Find the greater of the two numbers. Okay. Let us say the two numbers are a and b. The mean proportional of the two numbers is 12, means A is to 12 as to 12 is to B. Is A into B is 144. The third proportional of the same numbers is 96, means A is to B as to B is to 96. That is B squared is equal to 96A. Now consider this, B squared is equal to 96A. Multiply by B on both the sides. We will get B cube is equal to 96 times A into B. A into B is 144. So B cube will be 96 times 144. That means B is equal to cube root of 96 times 144. B is equal to 24. If B is equal to 24, then A is equal to 6. So the two numbers are 6 and 24. The greater of the two numbers is 24. Is that clear? Understanding that? Next, let us look at another question. Cement mortar is prepared by mixing cement, stone, sand and water. In the mortar, volume of cement is 60% that of stone. Volume of stone is 25% that of sand. Volume of sand is 40% that of water. Find the ratio of cement to water in the mortar. Cement is 60% of stone. If the amount of stone is 10, then the amount of cement will be 6. So cement is 6, stone is 10. If stone is 10, then sand will be 40. If stone is 10, then sand will be 40. And if sand is 40, then water will be 100. So what is the ratio? 6 is to 100. In other words, 3 is to 50. That's all. We don't have to write down anything. Able to understand? Cement is 60% of stone, means if stone is 10, then cement is 6. If stone is 10, then sand will be 40. If sand is 40, then water is 100. So cement to water is like 6 is to 100, which is same as 3 is to 50. But if that is confusing and not able to solve it that way, you can write it in this fashion as well. Cement, stone, sand and water. Cement to stone. Cement is 60% of stone. So if stone is 10, then cement is 6. Stone is 25% of sand. If stone is 25, then sand is 100. Sand is 40% of water. So if sand is 4, then water is 10, right? So what I am doing over here, I am considering let the sand be 100. That means 4 25 times is 100. So 10 25 times is 250. Then we'll have it as 25, 100 and 250. Then the amount of stone I am making it as from 25. If it becomes 50, then 100 becomes 200. Then 250 becomes 500. Look at it. If this is 10, this is 6. If this is 50, then 5 times of 6, this will be 30. So the ratio will be 30 is to 500 or 3 is to 50. The same thing that we got even without writing it. Is that clear? Understanding it? Now let's move on with the next question. Amarjit asked his son Balu how much he scored in maths exam. Balu replied, the ratio of 15 more than my score to 15 less than my score is 5:1. Find the score of Balu in maths exam. Also, given that exam was conducted for 50 marks, what was Balu's percentage score in maths? If the score in maths is x, if Balu's score in maths is x, then we get x plus 15 by x minus 15 is equal to 5 by 1. X plus 15 by x minus 15 is equal to 5 by 1, which is x plus 15 is 5 times of x minus 15. X plus 15 is equal to 5x minus 75. So 75 plus 15, which is 90, is equal to 4x. If 90 is equal to 4x, then x is equal to 22.5. Therefore, the score is 22.5. Now, 22.5 is what percentage of 50? 22.5 is what percentage of 50? What is 50% of 50? 25, right? If 50% is 25, then what is 5%? 2.5. 50% minus 5%, which is 45%, is nothing but 25 minus 2.5, which is 22.5. Therefore, percentage of marks scored in maths exam by Balu is 45%. Is that clear? However, if we want to look at the solution, this is the way the solution looks. Whatever I stated, I have just written it down. X plus 15 by x minus 15 is equal to 5 by 1. X plus 15 is 5x minus 75, 4x is 90, so x is equal to 45 by 2 or x is 22.5. Given that the maximum marks is 50 marks, then the percentage score 22.5 out of 50 into 100 will be 45%. And that is the percentage of marks scored in maths exam by Balu. Is that clear? After this, let's move on with another question. You have a minute time after I read the question. 170 chocolates were distributed between Akram and Vikram such that ratio of 3 times the number of chocolates given to Akram to twice the number of chocolates given to Vikram is 18:5. Find the number of chocolates Akram received. So this is the way we solve it. Let us say Akram got x chocolates, then Vikram got 170 minus x. Reduce the number of variables. So 3 times the number of chocolates that Akram received, that is 3x. 2 times the number of chocolates that Vikram received, that is 340 minus 2x, is in the ratio of 18:5. Cross multiply, you will get 15x is equal to 18 times of 340 minus 2x. That clear? 3 5 times is 15, 3 6 times is 18. So 5x is equal to 6 times of 340, which is 2040 minus 12x. That is 17x is equal to 2040, which means x is equal to 120. So how many chocolates did Akram get? Akram got 120 chocolates. Is that clear? Understood? Let us proceed to the next question. And before that, let me summarize a few of the points that we have actually discussed. We discussed the meaning of ratio. We discussed what is proportion. We solved questions. And most important point is that we need to avoid the use of variables and we need to avoid the use of fractions. Yeah? Now, if I say that, a person gave away some amount of wealth. So the point that we need to note in this particular session is with respect to this question. Always ensure that you reduce the number of variables and you reduce the number of fractions. that you use. Okay. And when we run the marathon session during the weekend, so during this Saturday and Sunday, I'll be running marathon sessions by giving you loads of questions on the topics of linear equation, ratio, proportion, and variation, as well as on the topic of numbers. So there we will see different ways in which the same set of questions can actually be solved. The same question can be solved at least in about 10 ways. So we'll see different ways in which the same question can be solved. And always remember, there is no point in solving 10 questions which are similar in the same way. Instead, take one question and solve it in 10 different ways, and you will be able to get more amount of logical thinking capacity and analytical reasoning capacity. Is that clear? That will not only help you in solving quantitative aptitude questions, but it will also help you in solving logical reasoning questions. Is that clear? With that, let me tell you that the next session will be tomorrow, and tomorrow the topic will be variation practice exercise. It will only be discussing about variation and nothing else. Only variation is what we'll be discussing. And yeah, tomorrow, that is 5th June. At what time? At 8 a.m. Okay. Hope you would like this session. If you like this session, then do subscribe to Unacademy. And when you subscribe to Unacademy, this is what you get. You get access to the daily live classes wherein you can chat with your educator, engage in the discussions, you can ask your doubts, and you can answer the polls. You can answer the live tests and quizzes. Also, the course is delivered in a very structured way. Just one subscription will give you unlimited amount of access to all the educators on the platform. So you can get different styles of teaching and different ways in which the same question can actually be solved. You will have access to the live classes, batch courses, and also Unacademy provides you an advantage wherein you can learn at your own pace and with a schedule that works for you. You can learn anytime, anywhere without language being a barrier, because we have educators who are well versed in different languages. You can interact with your educator, you can get the doubts cleared, you can also answer the live polls. You will be able to answer the live tests and quizzes. For every test that you attempt, you will be provided with a detailed report and analysis so that you can better yourself before giving the next test. You will have access to the PDFs and the learning materials as well. All of that comes at a very reasonable subscription fee of just 18,900 rupees for a period of 2 years. And let me tell you, I would never call this as an expense, rather I would call this as an investment. I'm not trying to demotivate people who are planning to give CAT this year. Even if you are planning to give CAT this year, it is worthwhile and value for money if you go in for a 24-month subscription. Because you just look at this and if we apply the math, see, for 12 months, if the fee is 15,750, just add 1 month more subscription, that is 3,150 rupees more subscription over here, and you will get access for another 12 months. So this is extremely beneficial, and the 18,900 is after you get a discount. And what you need to do to get a discount, you need to use a particular code when you are subscribing, and the code that you will have to use is APUS, Arjun Prasad Unacademy subscribe, APUS. Please remember the code APUS so that you get a benefit of 10% discount on the actual fee, that is 21,000. You get a discount of 10%. So please subscribe to get access to such kind of sessions and the material. And do not forget using the code APUS, because this is also another way in which you show your positive feedback to my style of teaching. Clear? So if you like this, you can click on like, share, and subscribe. Do spread the word. Hope to see you soon on Unacademy platform, and also to see you soon for tomorrow's class, which would be variation practice exercise starting at 8 a.m. Do not forget the code APUS. Is that clear? Thank you. This is Arjun Prasad signing off for today. Have a nice day. Thank you.